So now we're going to be moving on to our next chapter that deals with operations with integers. Our first lesson is on integers and absolute value. I'm going to break it into two parts. So for this first part, we're just going to focus on integers. So most of you probably already know what an integer is, but let's refresh your memory. So I broke it into 3 bullet points. So integers are positive whole numbers, negative whole numbers, and it also includes 0. So basically anything on our number line, going from left to right, positive and negative whole numbers. Okay, so if we look in our little picture, remember negative numbers are to the left of 0, and our positive numbers are to the right of 0. Also with the number line, as you go more to the right, you're increasing, your numbers becoming greater. As you go more to the left, you're decreasing, your numbers are becoming smaller. So if you're a visual person like myself, I included some pictures. So positive numbers are numbers greater than 0. So if you think about it, balloons, when they go up, they are increasing. When we think about the mountaintops, the higher the mountains, the greater they are. And you can also think about temperature. The temperature can increase. Okay, negative numbers are less than 0. So if you think about a thermometer, sorry, can't speak today. Numbers below 0 are negative, and especially if you live out here in Chicago, we know what negative numbers are because most of our winters in negative digits. Or if you think about a ship, it could be below 0. Our fishies like to swim underwater, so they are below sea level. So here are some positive and negative situations. You're not always going to hear increasing or decreasing, or the numbers positive or negative. You might have to recognize some words and understand what they mean. So let's look at some positive situations. We have a deposit. So deposit means you're putting money into the bank. So your bank account should increase. Ascend means to go up. So if you think about an airplane, when you're taking off, you're ascending into the air. You're going up. Obviously, if you're gaining something, you're increasing. Or if you think about football, they're gaining yards. They're getting closer to the goal. We have more than. We have above sea level and increased. Some negative situations, we have withdraw. So if you're withdrawing money from the bank, you're taking it out. So your bank account is going to be smaller, or going to decrease. With descending, you can have descending means going down. So when you think about an airplane, when you're landing, you're descending, you're going down. Okay, if you a loss, so if you lose something, obviously something's getting taken away. You have less than, you have below sea level, and you have decreased. So those are some positive and negative situations or other words associated with positive and negative numbers. Another vocab word we need to know is opposites. So opposites are the same distance from 0 on a number line, but on opposite sides. So there's 2 requirements of this definition. They're the same distance, but they need to be on opposite sides. So in other words, one needs to be positive, one needs to be negative. So if we look at this first example, we have -4 and +4. So those are opposites. So if we look at our number line, one's 4 units to the right, one's 4 units from the 4 units to the left. So they're both 4 units away, and they're on opposite sides of 0. So those are an example of one pair of opposites. So here's 4, -4 again on this example. We have -2 and +2. So again, here's 0. So -2 is 2 spots from 0. +2 is 2 spots from 0. They're the same distance, and they're on opposite sides of the number line. We have 5 and -5. So -5 is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 units from 0. +5 is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 units from 0. They're the same distance away, and they're on opposite sides. So they are opposites. So now let's look at some examples of integers and opposites. So we're going to write an integer for each situation and then identify its opposite. So example 1 has 23 below 0. So when I see the word below, I know it's going to be negative. It's below 0. So it's going to be negative 23. So we know negative 23 is below 0. Its opposite would be above 0. So that would be positive 23. Next example, example 2, 11 inches more than normal. Okay, we know more than is going to be positive, so it's a positive 11. So its opposite would be less than. So it would be negative 11. Okay, so you can look at the words and see what the opposite is, or if you see a negative, you know its opposite is going to be positive. If you see a positive, its opposite's going to be negative. So you can use the words and know the opposites, or actually look at the numbers and know what the opposite is. So know that a negative, its opposite is positive. With a positive, its opposite is negative. So in inequalities, any mathematical sentence using a less than or greater than sign. So an inequality compares numbers or quantities. So with inequalities, you can use a number line to help you determine who is bigger. So with a number line, the number to the left is always less than the number to the right. So as we look at our number, we know as we go more to the right, our numbers are increasing. If you come back and go to the left, we can see that our numbers are decreasing. So let's look at example 1. We have negative 5 and 4. So if I plot these, we have negative 5 and 4. So I know the 4 is to the right, so I know that negative 5 is going to be less than 4. Okay, you should always, just by looking at this, you shouldn't need to use a number line. A positive is always going to be greater than a negative. Positive means you have something, negative means you owe something. Example 2. We have negative 7, which would be over here, and negative 3. Okay, with negatives, it's a little trickier, but we know negative 3 is more to the right. So negative 3 is going to be greater than negative 7. It's closer to 0, so you're getting out of debt, but it's also more to the right. So that covers part 1 of this lesson. So we'll talk more about what we learned today in this video.